comes to WWE's worst ever WrestleMania, there's a solid few that could hold that crown. You've got a lot of the earlier WrestleManias that are a bit of a drag, but they were still figuring things out. You've got more modern stinkers like WrestleMania 34, 29, and 32. But head and shoulders above them all for most people is WrestleMania 27. And man, oh man, do I have a lot to say. It comes in at a 4.79 on Cage Match and is widely regarded as a terrible WrestleMania.
WrestleMania 27!
It took place in April 2011 and featured some extremely bad and some extremely good. Punk versus Randy, Cody versus Ray, Triple H versus Taker were all fire. Plus, Edge is my favorite wrestler of all time, so this being his final match for 9 years is an emotional soft spot. Oh, and The Rock had just come back, and he was the host of WrestleMania, so I quite like that. A match like Jerry Lawler versus Michael Cole, though, for example, probably kinda to some extent definitely did not need to happen at WrestleMania, if ever. Also, Snooki. And The Miz versus John Cena in the main event for the WWE Championship is a match that I quite enjoyed as a kid.
And then I rewatched it.
Now granted, do I still have fond memories of this being the first ever WrestleMania I was allowed to buy on Sky Box Office as a kid? You bet. Do I remember going into primary school the next day exhausted after being allowed to stay up to watch the first few matches? You bet. Do I still kind of think this Mania gets a little bit too much hate? Abso-frickin-lutely. But I guess today we're going to find out just how well or poorly this Mania has aged for me, a kid who watched it back then. The show opens up with the host of WrestleMania, The Rock, and his signature catchphrase.
Finally, The Rock has come!
Wait, what? You've done what, Rocky?
Can you taste it?
Okay, this is getting out of hand.
Can you smell it?
I sure hope not. Ew, Rocky, ew. The Rock basically just does his whole shtick, has some fun with the crowd, and takes up way too much time. Like, I love you, Rock, but this could have been a Twitter video or, you know, a tout. He takes a shot at John Cena too, as was the case around this time, building for that WrestleMania match that's only gonna happen once. Don't look at me like that, I'm method acting.
Who right now is in the back trying to decide which Rainbow Fruity Pebble t-shirt he's gonna put on tonight.
Also, what you're about to hear him say, just take a listen.
This ain't any water, this is the people's water.
The people's water. That doesn't even make any sense.
The Rock just got...
And that's disgusting.
When The Rock says yabba, the people say dabba. Yabba! Yabba! Yabba!
The people say stones, I say flint, flint. The people say do, I say Scooby, Scooby. It was time for the opening match of the night, that year's Royal Rumble winner Alberto Del Rio taking on the world champion Edge in what would be his final match for 9 long years. But not before we take a visit to the announce table for our commentators who are characters wrestling in this show for some reason.
Huge crowd early on, and I think nothing's going to change with this match.
I'm Michael Cole, the voice of the WWE inside the coal mine, the fortress of Athens.
I don't know what they were thinking, but this entire show feels probably like a bit of a fever dream if you didn't live through this era. Although I'll be honest, I don't hate heel Michael Cole. I think the elements to his character with the coal miners, his little quips, his love for The Miz, and his box were entertaining. Edge vs. Del Rio is a solid WrestleMania opener in my opinion, and even being unbiased, it's not like it warranted being anywhere close to the main event as a world title match. Although you could argue that the main event didn't deserve that spot either. Edge vs. Del Rio, for what it's worth, features the gutsy Edge working against the maniacal and often at times good heel work of Del Rio. Del Rio as a heel was pretty egotistical, but he did back it up and had a methodical nature to his in-ring presence occasionally. Although don't get it twisted, he should still rot in hell, but that's besides the point right now. Now, one thing to know about WrestleMania 27 is that they had this ginormous cube above the ring which would descend and be a part of the entrances.
Look at the intensity in the eyes of the world champion. It's cinched in.
I think one of my favorite underrated wrestler tropes is when their arsenal is so well known that they get to a point where they just start whipping out moves you've never seen them use before. But regardless, Del Rio rolls Edge out of the submission and then gets caught with a spear as Edge retains Big Gold. And then after the match, Edge and Christian walk up the ramp and they look at Del Rio's Rolls Royce and they're like, damn, this looks pretty breakable. I guess I'm gonna literally elbow drop it.
What's it? Yeah, it's nuts!
But wait, there's more.
He should arrest him. I've seen cars get keyed before, but never. Okay, you're laughing about it.
This is the weirdest promotion for Grand Theft Auto 5 I've ever seen. I mean, we haven't even seen a reveal trailer yet.
The poor man's gonna cry.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Alberto!
Getting ready? You getting ready, buddy? You getting ready? Because I am. Oh, man, I am ready. I am ready tonight.
Do you guys see what I mean? He's kind of hilarious. Like, this is what sports entertainment is all about.
A former war correspondent. Look at this. And we are here tonight in the shadow of the CNN.
You know, there's something pretty poetic about him saying, I'm a former war correspondent, Jerry, as he's literally about to report on the way he massacred this WrestleMania. Also, Cody Rhodes' sad, undashing theme, whoa, playing after that is pretty poetic. But yes, next up was Cody Rhodes versus Rey Mysterio, a story of Cody being incredibly bitter that Rey Mysterio's 619 disfigured his beautiful face just a couple months prior, so the hideous Rhodes wanted revenge. It's a fantastic match which eventually sees Cody picking up the win. Cody understandably always gets his flowers for his current character work, and understandably so, but he truly doesn't get enough credit for the character work he had during those earlier times. Like, the idea of this version of Cody Rhodes winning that SmackDown Money in the Bank between 2011 and 2013 was very plausible.
Good, not good.
He's easily one of those guys along with Wade Barrett who deserved a run with the big gold. His character work was terrific, and in-ring he's superb even at this infant stage of his career.
Rhodes with that counter. The Alabama slam. And here Rhodes has him.
And as you can see, the constant selling of his undashing face is great too. I'll personally never forget those episodes of SmackDown where he'd take the paper bags and he'd go into the crowd and be like, you're ugly, take this, wear this paper bag. Speaking of knee pads, the story linking into the fact Cody's face was shattered by Rey's knee brace, he proceeded to remove it mid-match. Then Rey removes Cody's protective face mask and hits a 619 to the now exposed face.
Not to the exposed face. 619 again.
Although Cody, the whole no knee pads thing was certainly a choice.
Go fuck yourself. Oh my God.
Rey then puts the mask on himself and starts headbutting Cody. Now, where have I seen that play recently, Rey? Oh, look at that. The match eventually comes to an end as Cody retrieves his mask and hits Rey with it as the ref isn't looking off a suicide dive into a crossroads for the win.
Yes, crossroads. Steal this retribution. Snoop Dogg is here tonight. He's in the He Is Out.
I never, and the DDJ means never, want to see any of that again. Next on this card, we had an 8-man tag with this ragtag bunch of guys right here known as the Core, combined of Big Zeke, the tag champions Gabriel and Slater, and the IC champion Wade Barrett. Taking on Santino, Kofi, and whatever the hell this create an entrance our scene is. Me when I'm playing SmackDown vs. Raw and I'm experimenting with a bunch of BS. But this match is over before it even really begins, eventually coming to an end with the Big Show hitting the WMD and knocking out Heath Slater. But Kofi, even though nowadays he's a bird-chested, traitorous, no-good bitch, back then he was pretty entertaining and he had a great showing in this match.
Oh, knockout punch by the Big Show, and Heath Slater gets the big sleep.
They then transition into a backstage segment with one of my personal favorites of this era, Eve Torres, and The Rock, who is,
Feel the dream. There it is.
Feels like a dream.
Yes, it does. Boom.
Was The Rock the original Costco guy?
It is magical, isn't it? So special, especially as champion, and you're here, and you're absorbing everything that WrestleMania is.
You know what would be magical? If Eve Torres had a match on this WrestleMania defending that very title. But alas, it's 2011. But then The Rock goes ahead and says he's about to create a magical moment with whoever walks around that corner.
Time to make more dreams come true.
Thank you for being a friend.
May! I do love the diva. She's a divasaurus. But May...
Do you know what? I'm not having that right there, Rock. You know exactly what you did.
Wait for it.
You made a joke that nobody laughed at. It's a red card. Play on.
People strudel.
Want the people strudel.
Right.
You know, I think one of my favorite things about these segments is when you can audibly hear the audience. You can audibly hear in the silence them being like, ooh, that's not. Black Adam continues to make jokes about May, like calling her Moses and saying she's friends with Adam and Eve, as May says she's never gonna get old. And then as she's escorted to her seat, she slaps The Rock on the arse, to which I say, workplace assault is not a joke, Jim. But ultimately, the saving grace of whatever the hell we just saw is the next person to come around the corner.
Couldn't have been anyone else coming around that corner. Anyone else coming around the corner.
Now that is something that I can sip a Steve Weiser to, oh hell yeah. Next I was reminded of this version of the new Nexus featuring the late great Bray Wyatt as Husky Harris and also, Mason Ryan? Kind of reminds me of what happened to that wrestler. I'll never forget the early discourse I'd see in the YouTube comments back then because the Twitter timeline wasn't how it was now, so I was in the comments looking for opinions. And I will never forget it. Someone in the comments was like, wow, Mason Ryan, this guy's gonna be the next Batista. But this was a story that actually began brewing 2 years prior. Randy punted Punk in the skull and he'd waited 2 years to get his revenge, costing Randy the title against The Miz at the Royal Rumble. On the lead up to this one, Randy was punting every Nexus member in the head and taking them out, promising that he'd do the same to CM Punk. But this match is terrific. Seeing CM Punk as maniacal as ever as he picks apart the target that is Randy Orton's knee in this story, and equally a babyface Randy Orton who was having a great run in 2011 in my opinion.
Go for the RKO! What a kick! Punk quickly into the cover. He's got it. Wow!
It's one of those Mania matches that doesn't really get mentioned all that often, but don't sleep on it. It's a banger. I understand that both men have had better matches in their careers at WrestleMania, but wow, this one is good. There's a spot in this match where Punk has Randy in a figure 4 around the ring post, which is brutal too.
Oh no! Oh, look at this!
Speaking of brutal, Randy eventually mounts a comeback looking for his signature punt kick as he looks to take out the final member of the new Nexus, but
He'll have no one to blame.
This should be the get out! Orton went for the pin and Punk.
when you try your best but you don't succeed, go for an RKO.
And Randy Orton! No. Wow! How smart is Punk?
Okay, that didn't work.
Watch this. Look at him.
Oh no! CM Punk is done for!
One of my favorite RKOs of all time because it's a genuine out of nowhere moment and my god was it pretty. Randy Orton ultimately winning at WrestleMania 27, but what a hell of a year it's about to be for the loser of this match. But from brilliant to bold, The Rock is back with another backstage segment.
What do you got to say for yourself, John Cena, #1 fan?
You can't see me! You can't see me!
I got nothing. Anyway, The Rock calls Pee Wee a piece of shit for being a part of John Cena's little Fruit Loop dickhead gang.
He looks like a tool!
I know you are, but what am I?
It's all about coming.
Anyway, Pee Wee joins Team Bring It and I join Team
Bring my misery to an end.
Next, it was time to honor the men and women who have paved the way for our business with the WWE Hall of Fame. The Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels being inducted as the headliner after retiring the year before in that infamous WrestleMania 26 streak versus Korea against The Undertaker. Now let's go ahead and transition from the legends of WWE to the future greats of our industry.
Happens next, and it's Michael Cole who will have his trainer Jack Swagger in his
Oh, that's the match you want to put after the Hall of Fame.
It took my breath away.
Okay. I sat there watching this and I genuinely could not believe that it was something that happened. Like, the entire thing is insane. But of course, since the commentators are in the ring scaring away the hose, we had to have someone fill in. This has quickly become a bit of a who's who of Deonte DDJ Law because now we got good old JR here.
Cooking here.
And we're gonna see Triple H in part 2 as well, which is a good time for me to say I'm splitting WrestleMania 27 into 2 parts because it's a big show. But don't worry, the second half will be dropping tomorrow night before WrestleMania Night 1. Then Michael Cole interrupts JR's entrance and just starts yapping.
They're both overrated, and they're both over the hill!
This is going to be one of all time.
And then all of you, all over the world, you are going to proclaim me the new Mr. WrestleMania!
This is just one big yap fest by Michael Cole. He's either getting pity boos or no reaction.
The All-American Jack Swagger!
I don't think I'm gonna say anything.
Should the All-American Jack Swagger?
Midway through Swagger's entrance, Stone Cold comes charging down on a quad bike, and then Lawler takes out Swagger as Cole is begging for his life.
Get in the ring! Can we talk about this? Please.
Better start apologizing, praying.
Then Cole is trying to be friends with Lawler now, and it doesn't end well.
Jerry, no, Jerry! Oh! Jerry! Oh! Jerry! Oh!
I was listening correctly, Jerry Lawler's exact words were, "This is what you get for all that Daniel Bryan slander on game show NXT."
Who actually won this match? What are we gonna have to listen to?
I'll be honest, me too, Josh, me too.
I'll quit.
This match is truly the definition of bad, like actually unwatchable bad.
Are you kidding me? Look at this. Mimicking the king.
How much of a washed bum do you need to be struggling against Michael Cole?
Skinny fat ass!
Jack Swagger eventually tries to throw in the towel for Michael and he catches a Stone Cold Stunner.
Don't you know what this is?
Then Lawler just whoops Cole's ass for an uncomfortable amount of time. He basically just continues hitting move after move, and then when it comes to the 3 count, he's like, nope, I'm not gonna let you go that easily. It's almost as if you can hear the crowd being like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit bad now. This, whatever you want to call it, comes to an end with Austin calling for the submission victory for Lawler.
I don't!
Then they go ahead and toast Steve Weisers after the match, to which Booker T says, "I want in." And well, it ends as you'd expect.
WrestleMania signs!
He hits the spinneroonie and they all lived happily ever.
Oh, stunner!
I lied, he got stunned, but then they lived happily ever.
And the winner of the match is Michael Cole.
Oh, come on.
You didn't think it could get any worse, and then wham! Like a Stone Cold Stunner. Wham!
Oh, come
Speaking of which...
Look out, look out! Another stunner!